Hello and welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. It is time to start the final turn. Turn 10 of the Battle of Eutaw Springs. So before we begin, a couple of things to note. One, the army morale for the British is almost at wavering. They're at 5. The Americans aren't far behind there at 6. The other thing to note is that each side has a momentum chit, and I really need to remember those are sitting over there. They're easy to forget, and I really wish that the sequence of play and the player's aid card would add reminders in there that, if you have a momentum chit, here's where you can use it. But they don't, and I should do a better job of, looking over here to make sure or maybe I should put these somewhere a little more visible to know that I have them. But we are going to start this final turn, and knowing that I have those chits in my hand, I could use those to re-roll initiative, or not re-roll. I think it's you add 2 to the roll. Before you roll the die, you announce that you're going to use a momentum chip and you can add 2. I'm not going to do that. I don't think initiative is that critical here. I think combat is going to be the more critical element of this final turn. So each side is going to hold on to their momentum, and we're just going to roll initiative, and it'll be a no modification to this die rolls, whoever gets the higher number. We tie. I think we tied again at the start of last turn. Reroll. And the Americans will have the initiative here. So let's go ahead and zoom in so we can see a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing we have is the movement phase, and disrupted units may move 1 hex. We've got a bunch of disrupted units under here, I believe. So Hampton is not disrupted. All the way down to the Palmetto. These are not disrupted. We'll put them up north here for a second. These 2 units are disrupted, and I can't move adjacent to Coffin, and they can only move 1 hex. So they're going to sit there. I don't think a whole lot's going to happen this last turn. And then we have Pick and Sumter. He's going to move forward 1. That he can do. And then back here we have the North Carolina unit that can move forward. They'll move forward 1. So that's all of the disrupted units we have. No shattered, no more pinned units, and we just conduct regular movement at this point. And I'm looking, so we could move forward the South Carolina Militia and Swamp Fox. We could move these up to attack this stack, but if we do, that will mean we are attacking across a hex side, which will give us a -1 to our attack. And we're already at our morale. Well, we got a +1 unit there, I guess. That's Swamp Fox. Our morale is still at -1, but it would be a -1 to the roll, and who knows how the tactics would end up. I mean, he's got 5 strength points to our 3. I don't like the odds there. It's the last turn of the game, though, so who cares? We're gonna advance and attack, I think. So they're gonna move up. And then we have Washington's Dragoons. So we could move Washington's Dragoons around. Maybe they can join that stack. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Does the creek come into play there? Yeah, so that would be 2 to cross that. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he could do it. He could swing around and join that stack. So he's going to do that. We need all the help we can get. And then green is not going to move. He'll just stay there. And we have units under here that can move. So everything below this disrupted marker cannot move. And I'm going to take away the rally on me marker because we now know that these can move 4. And I don't think actually, what have we got in here? We got the artillery, 2, 4. Could swing around and try to take another shot at Coffin there. Not very good odds if we do that. Well, let's try it. The Americans are trying to hang in here. They're being very aggressive this last turn. We're going to move up. See if we can't take a pop there at Coffin. And then Lee's Legion can't enter the zone of control. We'd have to stop if we did. We could swing him around the other way and see if we could attack these units. What's in here? These are pretty strong units. They are disrupted right now. Well, one of them is disrupted. These other 2 are not disrupted. But there's a lot of units in that stack, and I don't think he wants to do that. Can't get back up around to help Hampton because it's too far away, and I can't go through the enemy zone of control. You could just run him into the camp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that. He'll just run it towards the camp. Maybe trying to create a diversion or something. So that's going to be it for movement. And now we're going to go into the rally phase. So we're going to try to rally some of these units. Although I don't know it's not really going to have an effect on the game at this point, but we'll do it anyway. Starting with the North Carolina militia. So they're at -1. Let's get the dice tower back on here. See if we can't just cover up. Well, you know what we'll do? Let's go ahead and move these. Temporarily, we'll move these markers out of the way. We don't need those anymore. And okay, so we're looking for the North Carolina militia is going to be at a -2 to this roll. We're looking for a 5 or greater. So he does not rally. So he'll keep that disrupted marker. And then below him, we have this +1 Kirkwood. So +1 and a -1, just a 5 or greater is what we're looking for. And he doesn't rally. So those will end the game disrupted, it looks like. And then here we have a 0, so -1 to the roll. So he rallies. And then finally, North Carolina Brigade's at a 0, so -1 to the roll. And he rallies. All right, and it's getting hard to see. I'm going to have to move this dice tower. Maybe I can move it up to here. Since these units are out of this anyway, really. All of these units are out of it. So that is the rally phase. Now defensive artillery fire. We do have artillery here with Coffin. And that artillery is going to want to fire at the Maryland Brigade. Move Hampton back just for a second. So now let's go to our ranged fire to hit table. We are at strength points of 2 on that British artillery firing adjacent, looking for a 6 or greater to hit. And that is a 6, so that's going to be a hit. And we're going to roll another d10 to see what happens. It's a 3, so 3 versus non-artillery is a disrupted. So this unit becomes disrupted. And let me get this out of the way again. There's really no good place to put this. This unit is disrupted, the Maryland Brigade, and it will just move back 1, 2, 3. Put this on top, Hampton back on top. So a disrupted result is going to be a -1 for the Americans. Now they're tied with the British. Each are at 5. They're on the bitter edge of falling into wavering. So defensive artillery fire. Next thing is rifled fire. So that's going to bring us up to here. Let's get our rifled unit on top. So we have the Americans are firing at the British. Again, I'm going to put the dice tower here as close as I can get it. So back on the ranged fire to hit table, we are firing 1 strength point adjacent 7. So looking for a 7 or greater to hit. That's a 4, so that's a miss. I was looking at the combat DRMs there is why I paused to make sure I'm not missing anything. And now the British get to fire back. And they are looking also for a 7 or greater to hit. And they get it. Again, I'm going to look at the modifiers to make sure that's true. Yeah, they get a hit. So now it's on the damage table, it's rifle fire versus non-artillery. They get a 1, so that is a -1 AM. So I'm pretty sure that's -1 Army morale. It's an Army morale loss, but I think it's a -1 step loss as well. But that's going to push the Americans down into 4, and then the step loss that comes off this rifled unit, that's going to eliminate it. So that's going to go into the eliminated box. And reading this look again, it's -1 AM. It's not minus a step loss. So this guy's not. We don't lose him. It's just a -1 to the Army morale, which I don't think we've seen that result before. If you look at the rifle artillery fire damage table, it's -1 AM. So it's just as the Army morale will go down by that number. I just think that's the first time we've seen that result. So it's not a step loss, but the Army morale will go down to wavering for the Americans. So that's going to end rifle fire for the Americans. Now we're going to go into close combat. We'll just start where we are. And they are at, so the Washington's Dragoons will only add 1. So we're at 4. And we are looking at 4 versus 5. So 4 to 5, that's going to put us on the 1 to 2 column. We'll pick our lead units. So let's see, who was in here? Let's have the Swamp Fox be our lead unit. He's leading these units across that creek, hopefully to try to do something. And then we'll just have, oh, we've got this light unit up here that's going to become our lead unit because he's at +2 morale. Okay, so looking now at our benefits, the attacker modifier is at a +1. We're now at a -2 Army morale though from the Army morale track. So we're gonna get a -1 for that. So Army morale is a -1 to the roll. We're also attacking across a creek, and looking at the terrain effects chart, if you're attacking across a creek, you get a -1 for that. And continuing to read down, there's no commanding leader there. Any defending unit is a rifled unit. Well, yeah, we have a rifled unit in this stack, so they're gonna get a +1 for that. And that's gonna be it for the attacker benefits. So for the defender benefits, the light infantry is at a +2 morale, -1 from the army morale is a +1. So for the defender morale, they're going to get the Americans will get a -1 to this roll. There's no commanding leader. Any attacking unit is a rifled unit, so that's going to be a -1 for that. So that is going to be it for the modifier, well, not the modifiers, the close combat die roll modifiers, but now we have to have tactics. So we are engaging without a leader. Withdrawal is plausible. Table 1. We're going to roll our D8. Roll a 4, so that's stand fast for the Americans. And now the British, they are engaging without a leader. Withdrawal is plausible. Table 1. That is a 1. That's the withdrawal. So withdrawal for the British. Okay, so stand fast for the attacker and withdrawal for the British. The defenders is a no combat result, so there'll be no combat. Get these cards out of the way, but the British did choose to withdraw, so they've got to pull back 1 hex. So they're just going to fall back 1. And so the Swamp Fox wouldn't advance there. No one would advance because there was no combat, so there's no advance after combat. So our next close combat here for the Americans will be down here with green. He's got artillery, but he does have this Virginia Brigade with the strength of 2 going against the 96 there with the strength of 2. So we're on the 1 to 1 column. And our lead units, well, it has to be the 96 there for the British. And it has to be the Virginia Brigade for the Americans. So let's get our modifiers. For the Americans, the morale there is 0, but it's -2 now for the Army morale. Green is present, so he's going to add a +1, and no other benefits for the attacker. For the defender, their morale is at a -1, but their Army morale is also at a -1, so that's a -2. That'll be a +2 for the defender morale. There's no leader, and none of these other things apply, so let's get our tactics. The Americans are engaging with the leader. Flanking is possible, or I'm sorry, the opponent has no leader. Flanking is possible. Withdrawal is plausible. Use table 5. Table 5 says to roll a D10. That is an attack on echelon for the Americans. The British are engaging without a leader. Withdrawal is plausible. Table 1. 5 is attack on echelon. So both sides are playing attack on echelon. That's going to be a 0 for tactics. So we're on the 1 to 1 column. We have a +2 and a -2 for the morale. Those are equal 0. And then we have the leader +1. So +1 to the die roll for the Americans on the 1 to 1 column. 5 + 1 is 6, so it's a pinned result. So that'll place a pin marker on, well, this, well, what am I doing here? That'll place a pin marker on this stack, and that will place a pin marker on this stack. And I believe that's going to do it for close combat for the Americans. So that's gonna do it for close combat for the Americans. That's going to end their turn. And we'll flip the game turn marker over to the British side now. So the British now can conduct movement. And most of these in here, I think just the 1 unit is, well, there are 2 units in here. So there is 1 unit that's disrupted that can't not move. Or it's going to at least have to get out of that zone of control. These are 3 strength points. So that disrupted unit is just going to sit there. Since it's not in an enemy zone of control, he'll just continue to sit there. The pinned unit is not going to move, so we will just do regular movement. I think we're going to have these two, which were not disrupted. Let's get rid of this rally on me marker because we're going to leave this one behind. He was staying put. I think these two are going to move into this pin stack. So they're going to move up. Coffin was sitting here with the artillery. So we never moved him back on top of the artillery. But he's sitting here, so I think he's just going to sit tight and attack the Hampton stack. Then over here, these units can move 4, 6, and 4. So 4, so it's +1 to cross a creek side, so it'll be 1, 2, 3 to bring them around this way. So I think they're going to do that. They're going to go 1, 2, 3. Try to take a shot at Swamp Fox. That is going to be all that the British can do as far as moving is concerned. So that will take us into the rally phase. I don't think anybody in here needed rallying, did they? Nope, that was a pin. This is the only unit that needs to rally, so let's get the dice tower back in here. What was his morale? +1. British Army morale is currently at -1, so he's looking for a 5 or greater, and he does not get it. So that was the only one that needed to rally. That'll take us into defensive artillery fire, and I think, do we have any artillery? Did this stack have the artillery in it? It did. So this artillery is going to fire at this top unit. So 1 strength point, adjacent, looking for a 7 or greater. And the target here, wait a minute, was there light infantry in there? No, I thought there was light infantry in there. All right, so anyway, so he's looking for a 7 or greater, and he rolls a 0, so that is not good. We'll put these back on top of the artillery unit. That'll take us to rifled fire, but we do have rifled fire again. So the British are firing. They are adjacent. Strength points 1. That's a miss. The Americans will return fire. It's the same thing, looking for 7 or greater. They miss. So now we go into close combat. Might as well just start up here again where we were. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the Americans have 1, 3, 4. The 5 to 4, that's the 1 to 1 column. And well, I should have picked the lead units first, I guess. This light infantry is our lead unit since he's at +2. And for the Americans, it'll be Swamp Fox. It's +2 morale on the light infantry, -1 for the British morale, so it's a +1 for Army attacker morale. There is no leader present. There is a defending rifled unit, so that's another +1. That's it for the attacker defense. For the defender, Swamp Fox is at +1, but the Americans are at -2, so it's a -1. So for defender morale, the British will get another +1. There's no leader. Any attacking unit is a rifled unit. Yes, so a -1 for that. And no other benefits here for the defender. So let's go to tactics. So the British are engaging without a leader. Withdraw is plausible. Table 1, our favorite table. Roll a D8. A 4 is stand fast. So the Americans are engaging, well, they're actually engaging with a leader because Swamp Fox is a demi-leader. So we'll say engaging with a leader. Opponent has no leader. Flanking is possible. Withdrawal is plausible. Use table 5. Roll a D10. 9 is turn flank. So turn flank. So the British stand fast. The Americans turn flank, -2 to the roll. Okay, we've got a lot of modifiers to this one. We have 3 +1s, a -1 and a -2. So all those modifiers equal a big fat nothing. So we're on the 1 to 1 column with no modification. The British fire. They roll a 3 on the 1 to 1 column. The attacker retreats and no effect for the defender. So our lead unit will retreat. That is this light infantry. He'll come back across the creek. These other units must make a morale check. The rifle unit +1, -1 for army morale. 8, he passes, so he can stay there. And we have the horse unit there, so 7, he can stay there, so just the 1 unit retreated. So that is the British close combat. But that's those stacks, and now we'll come down. Let me get the cards out of the way. So now we'll come down to here. Let's get the pin markers all taken away. This will be our, no, this will not be our last close combat of the game. Second to last. So we have, let's see, who do we want to be the lead unit here? They're all -1s. We'll just take the top one. And here it has to be the Virginia Brigade. Okay, so I said we were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going against 2. So that's going to put us on the 2-to-1 column. And the British morale -1 and another -1 for the army morale track. So the attacker morale is at a -2 to the roll. There's no leader there to worry about. None of these other attacker benefits will apply. The defender morale's at 0 for that unit, but the Americans are at -2, so that's going to be a +2 for the defender morale. And then green is there, so he's going to give a -1 to the roll. And now we get our tactics. The British are engaging without a leader, right? I know we've lost Marchbanks. Yeah, there's no leader in there. Engaging without a leader, withdrawal is plausible. Use table 1. Roll a d8. That is a 4. That's stand fast again. And now the Americans are engaging with the leader. The opponent has no leader. Flanking is possible. Withdrawal is plausible. Table 5. Roll a d10. 7. Frontal assault. Stand fast versus a frontal assault. +1 to the roll. So we are at 2, let's see, a -2, a +2, so that's nothing, and a -1 and a +1, that's nothing. So just a straight roll on the 2-to-1 column. The British fire, and they get a 9 on the 2-to-1 column. That's going to be bad. That is nothing on the attacker, and it is a 1 step loss to the defender. We only have 1 unit in here. It's this Virginia Brigade, and is it already damaged? It is, so we lose the Virginia Brigade. So that 1 step loss will cause the morale for the British to go up 1, so they're at 6 now. And for the Americans, it drops down to 3. And so that is going to cause the artillery unit's going to have to make a morale check here. So it's at +1. The Americans are at -2, so a -1 to the roll. It's a 9, so they pass their morale check. All right, so let's get these cards out of the way. And we only have 1 more close combat. That's over here. So Coffin's going to attack green. So Coffin, the artillery doesn't count, but he has 2, 4. So we have 4 going against 1. So we're on the 4-to-1 column. And that's the column you don't want to be on. So let's get our modifiers here. We got our lead units first. We know that our lead unit for the Americans has to be the Palmetto Foot unit, and for the British, it'll just be this 63rd, since they're at a +1. So morale there is a +1. The British morale is at a -1 for the army, so it's 0. Coffin is there, he can add his +1. And none of these other attacker benefits apply. The defender benefits, the morale is -1 plus another -2. Going to be a +3 for defender morale. There is a leader there. There's Hampton, so he's going to add. He's going to have a -1 to that. Defender close combat gives it a -1 to the roll. They need all the -1s they can get here. That's going to leave tactics. So the British, they are engaging with the leader. The opponent has a leader. Flanking is possible. Withdrawal is plausible. Table 9. Roll a d8 on table 9, and you get 4, which is skirmish. The Americans are engaging with the leader. The opponent has a leader. Flanking is possible. Withdrawal is plausible. So we're back on table 9. I'm going to roll a d8 again. They get a 7, which is turn flank. So attacker skirmish, and the defender turns flank. That's going to add a +1 to the roll. Okay, so we have a 2 +1s and a +3. That's a +5 minus a 1, so 4. So we're on the 4-to-1 column, the worst column you can be on. And we're going to get a +4 to this die roll for the British. So let's see what happens here. And they roll as high as you can get. So this is horrible news for the Americans. So that's the worst result in the game. It's on the 4-to-1 column, and it's an 11. So 2 step losses on the defender. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. So we were over here, 2 step losses on the Palmetto Foot, which can only take 1 anyway, so that's going to eliminate that unit. So that 2 result is going to give a +1 to British morale, so they're up to 7 now. It's going to be -2 to the Americans. So they are currently at 3, so they're at 1. 1 more and they automatically lose the game, although the game is about over. I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to lose it that way, but maybe they will, because we're not done yet. So we've eliminated the unit. The attacker gains the momentum chit. There's another one. And I don't think there's anything else that would apply here. That was, so that was here. I think what this means, unfortunately for the Americans, is since that unit was outright eliminated, the 63rd gets to advance and capture Hampton. So if you capture a unit, that's going to be a +1 morale for the British, taking them to 8. That'll drop the Americans down into demoralized, and that's 0 morale. When you hit 0 morale, you automatically lose the game. So they would end up capturing Hampton, and this whole stack would just move forward. We'll get this out of the way. And so that is going to end close combat. That's going to end the British turn, and that is going to end the game. So there's no need to add up victory points or any of that stuff here, because the American morale reached 0, and that's instant loss. And this is how the game board looks at the end of the game. It is a British victory, very ahistorical here with the British victory. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. So here we are, zoomed back out, the end of the game. The British have won. The Americans' morale went down to 0 with instantly ending the game. I think they would have lost anyway. They controlled none of the encampment hexes. This is as close as they got, I think, with this Lee's Legion running into the camp there at the last. The British lost Marchbanks, which was brutal, but it didn't stop them from winning the game. So yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be a British victory. So I'm going to give some final thoughts, or my final stream of consciousness thoughts here on the battles of the American Revolution and the rule set in particular here with the tri-pack. And there is another tri-pack coming out, which, spoiler alert, I am definitely going to jump all over that, because if you couldn't tell during the playthrough, I really like this game. And what do I like about this game? Well, let's see. One thing I like about this game, and probably I should say love about this game, is the rules. And this is the series rule book, and look at how thin it is. It is, these are charts. It's 14 pages, and there's not a lot of text in here. So yeah, you do have, and to go with the rule book, you're going to have, let me see if I can find it here. You're also going to have the exclusive rules that go along with that. So for the other battles, and this 3 battles are in here, and of course there's designer notes, which takes up a lot of this, which I need to read through. And then there's also the print of the counters. So there's like 9 pages of exclusive rules to go with the 14 in the rule book. So a rules light game. The rule book is written in a way such that it is extremely easy to find information in here. It's kind of written in the order of the sequence of play, which is on the back. So the rules here are, it's smooth, it flows, everything flows nicely. You're playing along, you follow the sequence of play, and it just flows. You're not looking up a bunch of rules. You're not slowed down by what do I do now? What can or can I not do here? You've got the game map has the terrain chart over here, and you've got this really nice player aid card, which you will find yourself using a lot. So you've got your terrain effects chart here. You've got your combat tables, your die roll modifiers are here, casualty summaries, combat results, army morale adjustment, victory points, and your to-hit tables are over here. So between this and the light rules, you're just gonna sit down and play this game. Once you know the rules, you're gonna just be playing this really quick. So it's a fast playing game. It's fun. It feels thematic to me. So this is Revolutionary War. I like the way that the artillery works in this. You're not firing, artillery across great distances here. You're dealing with defensive artillery fire. I also like the momentum chits. Now I kept forgetting they were over there, and we'll talk about that in a second. But these momentum chits that you gain can turn the tide. You can use those for seizing the initiative. You can use those for re-rolling close combat die results, which I should have done, but you can use them for those. So I like the momentum chits. That adds to replayability. I like the way that rifle fire was conducted. I like these units that are rifled units that fire at each other. I think that's really neat. It's a Revolutionary War. Like I was saying, it adds to the theme of this, where you have these rifled units, early rifles here that come into play. And what was the range on those things? I think it was 4 hexes. You could fire 4 hexes away. And that was the only rifled units that you had. In this scenario, you only had two rifled units. So that was really, and I'm really looking forward to playing a big scenario, or one of the bigger scenarios in this series. This was just really, and if you want to learn the rules, this is the one to play, Eutaw Springs. The rules light part of this series with Eutaw Springs makes this an ideal scenario. So I recommend this for your tutorial scenario. Okay, so those are all the things I liked. Things I won't say didn't like, things that I'm not really sold on, and there's really only one, and that's the tactics, these tactics cards. Now, if you're playing against someone, it's not going to be a whole lot different than what you saw here in this solo playthrough. You're going to have, your opponent's going to pick a card, you're going to pick a card. So that's not going to change a whole lot. So you can't blame it on me playing this solitaire. Is why I'm kind of lukewarm on the tactics. It seems like a lot of work to come up with just another modifier to the combat. And if I played it again, I probably would use the tactics again. If I were looking for a fast playing game of this though, I think I would probably choose not to use the tactics in a game. So if I wanted to sit down and play a really quick game of this, I'm like, I'm not gonna do the tactics because it just slows you down. So I'm not really sold on these tactics cards. I don't know how I feel about them. It's not an outright, I hate it or I like it. I'm just in the middle of the road. I can either take them or leave them. I think it added more time to the gameplay though. And then the things I didn't like, and this is minor, and goes back to things like the momentum chits. I would have loved to have seen, like here on the close combat die roll modifier for combat, just a reminder note that says, if you have a momentum chit, here's an opportunity to play it. A written reminder that it's there and you have it. Because I have mine sitting off here and I keep forgetting about them. And that's my fault. But a reminder here, and also a reminder back here, like in the initiative, where you're under the initiative segment, just a note here under that says, if you have a momentum chit, remember that you can modify your die roll by +2. But it doesn't say that. It just says check the Army Morale DRM to see to modify this thing. But again, put the fact that you can use your momentum chits there as a reminder to people like me. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that forgets the fact that there are momentum chits in the game. This isn't something that is exclusive to this game. There's other games where you have things like momentum chits. You have just something that comes to mind, I think, that I played recently is the Shattered Union series where they have something like this. And, I would love to see reminders in the sequence of play and the player's aid card that, hey, here's where you can use one of these things if you have it. Just a nice to have thing. Overall though, I love this game. This is a great game. And I'm really looking forward to playing a large scale battle of this game. Just the back and forth shifting, the way that the battle flows, the rules flow, how easy it is to go through this thing. Once you learn the rules, I don't think it's that hard to screw up the game. Fast playing and fun to play, very thematic. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough of Eutaw Springs. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. And as always, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time.